The boys were called edgy. Told they never make it past 5 episodes. Here those podcast jerks are. Back for season 2. The Boys in the Woods podcast. The show your mother warned you about and that your dad was hiding in the basement listening to. Get ready for the Boys in the Woods podcast.
Welcome back, Charles, and welcome back the rest of the crew. Hey,
We're
all here now. Another Sunday fun day.
Episode. Totally understandable, because unlike the rest of the world who does this for, 6 figures a year type shit, this is still a wonderful hobby for us. So we're so glad to have you gentlemen back. And touch on the list real quick.
Fanatic Sports Gear, proudly endorsed by the Boys in the Woods podcast, where the boys shop for all their jerseys and sports cards.
Breaking into the NFL list, we ran into another situation, just like the edge rushers, the middle linebackers, yada. So apparently when you're in high school, college, heading from college to the NFL, including the NFL draft, you get these tags. Edge, DT, IML, or ILB, MLB. You get all this shit, IOL. But once you get into the NFL, it's, you're just on that line. And you're just in that part. And if you're a part of the defense as a whole, if you, for 5 fucking plays, came off the side, now you're an edge rusher. Or if you, for somehow or another, the defensive tackle and middle linebackers are on the same fucking list. And places like Fox Sports, the NFL, fucking ESPN, they're all just, here's a top 10 list. And they're the same fucking list over and over again they just have defense written on it. In order to give the fans what they deserve, we're going to need a little bit more time. Because we got to pick through this shit like fucking popcorn in a goddamn chicken coop. Good luck.
You want to know another one that's really bad? I believe that the NFL kind of got rid of nose tackle, and it's just defensive tackle.
I haven't seen one in almost a decade. I don't think that position's been even called out loud.
Is this a contract?
They don't call him a nose tackle. They call him just defensive tackle, right?
Yeah, they're all defensive tackles. Or you'll see in some, more so NFC versus AFC, you'll see IDL, interior defensive lineman. Yeah. Which nobody else calls them that because they're just defensive tackles. But
I can tell you for the fans, real quick, that we lost some really good football players this year. We lost some really good football players. I'm talking iconic defensive and offensive line players that were respectively in the top 3 in almost every category, either retired or is hurt and isn't playing. It's Aaron Donald, Jason Kelsey, just to throw out the 2 real quick. Fletcher Cox. It's kind of maddening seeing these lists and the people that are young too. I'm talking young 30s.
Aaron Donald only played 10 seasons.
Yeah, congratulations.
Donald said that he accomplished everything that he wanted to, so that's why he retired. It had nothing to do with I couldn't play. It was just I'm good, bro.
Which is smart.
And I'm like, and if you got everything already, why put your body through something like that if you don't have to?
Exactly. The constant head hits. I'm talking, you can take some time now, enjoy your family, enjoy your mental health, get yourself recentered, find a zen, go to that fucking happy place, stay there for however long you need to, because he's smart. He invested his shit, man. That dude. Speaking
of careers, are they talking about that San Francisco 49ers block that on Vander Esch from the Cowboys? Are they talking about that as ending his career? What? I thought he was just leaving Dallas. I didn't think he was done.
No, he's done. I think
retired.
His neck has finally.
Yeah, the NFL is gonna force him to retire.
So when you feel,
because this isn't the first physical he's failed. When you fail more than one physical, the NFL steps in, and I think that's the policy. Don't quote me, but
remember, we mentioned this with another guy,
Michael Thomas.
He's failed multiple as well, but I believe he's failed not for the same constringence on his health.
But it's always something to do with his leg.
Some of it was like not being up to par.
The next person on this list is David Bakhtiari. The last 3 seasons, he has not played more than 13 games. You're not getting consecutive play, 5, 6, 7 games out of him consecutively multiple times. One more season of that. Hey, man, you've done a lot. I love seeing you play, but
he's going to be the next domino to fall, right?
I think so.
Who, Bakhtiari to retire?
No, to get to free agency, like the biggest name out there.
I thought
one of the bigger names.
You guys already released him, right?
Yeah,
he's released. He hasn't been picked up by anybody yet.
There was scuttlebutt that he had a meeting with the New York Jets.
Is he? Wow. He's a guard or a tackle?
Left tackle.
Left tackle.
Yeah.
And honestly,
he was the one that was constantly getting hurt.
Yeah.
For 3 years in a row.
David Bakhtiari.
When healthy, is top 10.
Best left tackle in the game.
Because when y'all picked him up, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. He was like the top tackle coming out of free agency.
Actually,
when y'all picked him up.
Interesting part about David Bakhtiari, he was acquired on a draft day trade back, along with Jair Alexander and a couple of other really big names to play for Green Bay.
I got another.
I can't remember. I'll pull up the list later on in the show.
Because I got another friend, he's a big-time Packers fan, and I think it was last year, he brought him up, and he was like, if he doesn't get healthy enough to play at least, like, majority of the season, there's a good chance that y'all pretty much part ways because he's just eating up cap space, always being injured.
Absolutely. David Bakhtiari, that is definitively what has happened. The murmurs started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Last year it really hit, and now this year, of course, last year being 2022 to 2023, this year being 2023 into the 2024. We've now entered the 2024-2025 NFL season. Mm-hmm. For those of you having a hard time keeping up, welcome to the math of the NFL.
It's great.
It's phenomenal. But yeah, God, I just confused myself with those numbers. So carry it away.
And this is coming from the numbers guy.
Yeah, really.
Numbers guy. I know it. They're all over here on my screen, I swear.
Yeah, Bakhtiari has been rumored to be gone from you guys for at least 3 years now, just because of.
But the hesitation behind it was because, honestly, I've got him as number one, obviously Green Bay Packer fan, but he's a top 3, top 2, top 1 left tackle when he's healthy.
When healthy.
Do you think he goes to a contender and sits behind a left tackle?
No, I think he goes to the New York Jets.
Do you move him, though? Do you move him do you keep him at left tackle just for longevity-wise?
Absolutely. I hear what you're saying, though, Mike. For the longevity of his career, yeah, but I don't think that's the case. I think the dude just wants to play with his friend. I think they've been together for so long.
Yeah.
They are really good friends. I think he wants to go and try and protect Aaron for one more championship run. I don't blame the guy at all. Although, heading to artificial turf does stamp all of those I'll never play there fucking stamps.
Not only that, it's the player's choice of the worst football field to play on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But friendship, listen, we all understand that friendships make us do crazy-ass things. We all have stories going left and right, and their type of bond is like ours and everyone else's that are really close. I saw it on all your faces the moment I brought it up. So I do agree that he is. I think he's going to go play for the Jets. So
I just could see him. I could see him. You said the friendship aspect obviously takes over, but because I was curious because teams like Philly, San Francisco, Kansas City all need depth at left tackle. Everybody needs a left tackle.
Yeah.
And if you go to Philly or San Francisco or Kansas City or Baltimore, you're guaranteed at least a playoff run, if not a deep playoff run. So I guess
let's be honest too, though. A healthy Aaron Rodgers, we hate his drama and we hate his offseason, but when that dude is on a football field, he's still a dog. I think, and with the tornado that is now, what are they, the AFC East? Mm-hmm. Baltimore ripping themselves apart. Miami was torn apart from the top to the bottom. We're wondering who the hell they are next year. They still got speed, but what are they defensively? And then you've got who the hell else is in that damn division? You got the Jets.
The AFC East is Buffalo, Jets, Patriots, and Miami.
Patriots. Yep.
And the Patriots, they've got Gerard Belichick, was it? Or Gerard?
Mayo.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
They got rid of Mac Jones. That's the best thing that they did. So.
Oh, this guy's just a troll.
They called him Gerard Belichick back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think his plan's gonna deviate that much from what we've seen.
I'm just saying we have to we don't know who the Patriots are going to be. So
nope.
I think the Jets with Aaron Rodgers next year, I think they're a good take. You can't write the Bills off. I don't know.
We can't. Did not one of you have? I believe it was Paul had him as the number 1 quarterback in the NFL.
Who?
Me? Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Hell, not
Buffalo.
I had him as number 5.
Buffalo.
I had Josh Allen. Yeah.
Josh Allen. So
yeah.
I was hoping, Charles, when he said that your eyes were gonna roll and you were gonna go, is he trolling me right now?
I'm like, if he would have said Aaron Rodgers was gonna take the AFC East, I'm like 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have laughed at you. But seeing as that the Buffalo Bills pretty much blew up their whole defense, I'm like, that whole division is up to shit.
I bet if we bring up the Vegas numbers, it has the Jets taking the AFC.
Probably the only contender for that is Baltimore, but like you said,
for what, the AFC?
Yeah. The problem is, Patrick Queen is a giant hole in your second level of your defense. It's a giant
for the Ravens hole. There, yeah.
That's insane. The Jets.
I think out of the whole, the Ravens are in the AFC North, and I think the way that they've constructed the AFC North, even with Cleveland, they're literally, depending on who Deshaun Watson wants to be next year, every team even Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, that AFC North has a possibility that all 4 of those teams can actually be in the playoffs next year.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think that entire division is a 10-win division.
It's fucking disgusting
how good that division will come against each other. To be honest with you, I mean, that AFC North
is ridiculous.
And you've got literally one of the best regular season quarterbacks of all time in Lamar Jackson. Prove me wrong.
Facts. 2-time MVP says that himself.
Every quarterback that's in that division has the potential to lead their team, to the title, and probably a deep run in the playoffs. Like, it's ridiculous. You don't know what's going to happen.
Who's in Baltimore's division? It's them.
Baltimore,
Steelers,
Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
Oh shit! Jesus.
That whole division is stacked.
Cincinnati's out to prove something this year too.
Again, health plays a factor with everything.
Absolutely,
health plays a factor.
Yeah, because if Joe Burrow comes back healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on paper, the AFC
way too early AFC North prediction. You can change
all right, you want to go around the table? Go around the table. Who's going to win the AFC North?
Presuming that everyone is healthy.
Based off what's happening right now.
What's happening right now. And everybody's healthy. And I'm going to throw it in here. We got to get spicy. Deshaun Watson plays like Deshaun Watson.
Ooh.
I gotta go Cleveland.
We have to assume he's going to play like Deshaun Watson.
If I'm getting the Houston Texans Deshaun Watson,
yes,
with the squad that he has now,
yes,
that is probably the most, outside of maybe Baltimore, I think is the scariest team out of that division.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. We got to pick. I'm going to pick.
If I'm getting Deshaun Watson, that I know Deshaun Watson can be, I'm picking Cleveland to take.
Okay, so way too early on the table. Healthy 2020 Deshaun Watson with Cleveland takes the AFC North. I like that. Yes. I love that. Mike?
I'm going to go Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And you can't when Joe Burrow is that ice cold LSU version, like just ridiculously accurate, plus Jamar and him if they're healthy, the only hesitation I have to say them over Cleveland is Myles Garrett and Cleveland's defense. The one thing where I'm like,
Cleveland's defense.
I don't know if anybody. I don't know if
we're talking about a healthy Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
That's true. And we still have the draft too. We still have the draft too.
Yeah, we're in a healthy world here.
Just based offensively and having seen them win a national championship together, I'm still going to go Cincinnati.
I like Cincinnati. So we've got Cleveland, we've got Cincinnati. Patrick, who do you got?
So I'm gonna agree with Paul on this one. I'm gonna say Cleveland. Cleveland did what they did last year without Nick Chubb. And if Nick Chubb comes back healthy.
And this is the thing with Cincinnati. They don't have Joe Mixon, so they have a big hole when it comes to the running back.
I think this is going to be this whole division is going to be a free for all. Either way, all four of these teams outside of Pittsburgh is going to make some noise, obviously, but they're going to have to make some moves in order to compete with the rest of them. But it's going to be between Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore is going to probably run the ball more now that they have Derrick Henry. So I don't know.
It's anybody's game. This is the scary thing.
We
all could be wrong, but I still think Cleveland.
It's way too early. It's way too eurly. Okay, so we got.
They did that with Flacco, man.
We've got Cincinnati for Mike. We've got. Snapchat. Cleveland for Pat. I'm taking the Pittsburgh fucking Steelers. I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen,
after
Russell
looking up
Wilson,
those stats for Paul earlier, you're taking the Steelers.
This is
a hot pick beyond hot picks.
I'm taking Russell Wilson and his plus 100 passer rating. I'm taking that Steelers fucking defense. You have Arthur Smith as the OC now.
It's a legit.
And you got Pickens. Somebody's actually going to throw Pickens the ball.
The next time you go up to the UP, Charles, you need to put a hundo on Pittsburgh to win the AFC North. You probably make money if they win.
I'm not going to debate. This is the thing. This is the holes that I feel like each team has. Cleveland right now, their biggest hole is quarterback. Which Deshaun Watson shows up, that's the biggest thing right now because their defense is stacked. Right. Nick Chubb comes back. If he comes back, clearly, he broke his leg in half. I get that. But if his leg is able to heal properly and he's able to rehab, Nick Chubb is still a top 5 running back in the league easily, if not top 3.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, yes, they have a talented receiving core. They have a talented defense. But again, that hole that Joe Mixon left, regardless if you believe in him or not, Joe Mixon was a workhorse as a running back.
Because of their offensive line,
very consistent.
100%.
Mixon was very consistent.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then with Pittsburgh, there's never a question in their defense. Never been, never has been. That's just who they are. That is
with
who
the addition
Steelers Nation is.
Patrick Queen?
Right. So the question is always going to be offense. Their quarterback, especially since Ben Roethlisberger, however you may feel about that man, he still was a consistent quarterback for Steelers.
They also traded away one of their
retired.
Is this the Nathaniel
They
Hackett
traded
effect,
away
though?
They traded away one of
traded
their
Deontay Johnson. You still have a workhorse in Najee Harris. I get it. He's a good running back. So now it's going to be a factor of with Cleveland, which Russell Wilson is going to show up. And if he doesn't show up and Justin Fields gets plugged in, which Justin Field is going to, again, their quarterback situation is going to be the key. For Baltimore
we will.
Let's lead into it. I had this question. We want to talk about this.
When do
fans start calling for Fields? When do they start seeing?
So before we go into that, let's segue into that. But hold on. Baltimore has the ability to be the best team in that division.
None of us picked Baltimore.
Again, because like Mike said, losing Patrick Queen is going to be a big hole to fill next to Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is not going to be able to hold that middle by himself.
No, they're definitely drafting.
They're going to have to.
They have to replace him.
There's 3 names. There's 3 names Baltimore looks at: Peyton Wilson, the white linebacker from NC State; Edgerrin Cooper, my thumbs up logo. Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M, who is a freak show of an athlete, or Jeremiah Trotter, who's probably the 3rd best linebacker in this draft. But the good thing about if you go Trotter Jr., you can get him projected to go in the 3rd round.
He has the highest upside though of all of them, but he's as raw as they can get.
And he's smaller than both of the other 2.
Baltimore would be a great place for that raw talent.
And this is the thing. And the big hole for Baltimore, with Baltimore's biggest hole with losing OBJ, which technically isn't going to be that hard to replace.
No, they can replace him with any wide receiver for the production they get out of him.
You already have Zay Flowers, which is a proven wide receiver in the league right now as a rookie going into a sophomore year. You have the reigning MVP. You have King Henry.
You have 2 elite tight ends.
Yeah, 2 elite tight
They
ends.
just got to draft a good, solid replacement for Queen and a and you can find anybody to replace OBJ at this point in OBJ's career and give you the same numbers, if not double, or pretty much 300-400 yards more with maybe 6-7 more touchdowns.
And
Baltimore looks like
you need to replace
ridiculous.
like 400 yards of receiving and 48-50 receptions and maybe 3 touchdowns. A rookie, if he can't give you that,
I was going to say there's unrestricted free agents. If Baltimore picks up Quez Watkins, one of the Eagles,
Scantling could do a little bit more.
Oh yeah, and
you don't need
Baltimore is just 2-3 pieces away
Yeah.
from being like, oh shit.
Oh, Lamar could hit him for a couple of 80-yard bombs at least during the season.
And it's
for sure.
over.
I think the team in the AFC North that I'm most excited about, and this will get us to our segue here, is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They did. Obviously, it's Pittsburgh because they replaced both quarterbacks, for fuck's sake.
Like, you literally got rid of both of your quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But they got better. I think they did.
There's no doubt they got better.
Backup is a fantastic backup. He's somebody that can come in, win you multiple games, but you're not going to rely on this dude, right? Which is a completely different world. Defenses are planning for A, and they get B. That's an entirely different
That's the
world.
thing is I was going to just highlight your point. Why Justin Fields is such a fantastic backup is because if you do not game plan for him every single week and Russ gets hurt, he's going to burn your ass for 3, 4, 500 yards. So he makes you have to game plan for Russ and game plan for him. It's
what game this year we saw this in? That exact point was the Detroit Lions when they played the Baltimore Ravens when they got their asses handed to them. That was a good Detroit team. Went in, Baltimore kicked the shit out of them because guess what? They weren't ready for Lamar. They weren't ready for him to take off. That's what Justin Fields gives you.
Season Lamar. Hell yeah.
Yep.
So here's my take on the whole Justin Fields getting drafted to Pittsburgh. So I can get it the fuck off my chest.
He got drafted. Come on, they traded him for draft picks, so he got drafted.
Yeah, a third draft pick.
Number one, we didn't deserve Justin Fields. For the simple fact that he got drafted into a shitty situation. They rebuilt the team just to shift this motherfucker off. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, if I was Pittsburgh, and it's gonna kill me to say this, I would be petty as fuck and sit this fucker all year long so we get a 6th round pick because we don't deserve that 4th round pick. I would be petty as hell.
You ain't gotta worry about that. We're minus Nathaniel Hackett. We're gonna get a good.
My thing is,
I'm
pretty sure we can all agree Russell Wilson is going to start the year. There's probably no debate about that.
Yeah.
However, if he performs like his first year in Denver, not a second, because the second year in Denver was okay. I give Russell Wilson maybe 8 games before they bench him if he doesn't have a consistent 250, 300 yards, a couple touchdowns.
I keep him in there getting a good draft.
But if they have a winning record by
Tomlin
week 8,
is very stubborn though. He'll probably leave him in there the entire season.
I was going to say
if he has a winning record by week 8, I think that he stays until he proves that he just can't.
Might just say the record wise. All right, you're saying like if they're 3-5 after week 8, he's out.
I don't think
I don't think it's going to take till week 8 though, because look,
before they want to see what Fields has. Yeah.
Because Mike Tomlin has been proven to be willing, obviously, to move on from quarterbacks. They didn't pay shit for Russell, so if he doesn't re-sign next year, it's not a cap hit for him. It's not a cap hit for anything. And if Fields comes in and excels, it's even better for Pittsburgh because look, we got a younger quarterback for cheaper. Granted, we're going to have to pay him depending on what he does this year, but he's much healthier than Russ is. He doesn't have nearly the amount of mileage or bullshit on him, and he's still young enough in the NFL that he can readapt to a new system faster than Russell could because Russell's an old-ass quarterback.
I'm telling hooked on the Nathaniel Hackett Kool-Aid. I promise. I'm telling you.
Personally,
we're hooked up.
I just want Justin Fields to succeed. I want him to prove us wrong at the end. I don't care who's his OC, any of that. I just want him as a player wherever he is, whether he stays in Pittsburgh or shifts off to somewhere else. I just want everybody in Chicago to eat shit for just
and that brings up
pissing this guy away for 3 years.
So that brings up a good point. Is Justin Fields going to be comfortable being the backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah. He's not going to have a choice.
He does, because it's 1 year. We're talking 1 year. No, this Pittsburgh Steelers experiment is 1 year.
He seems to have a pretty good head on his shoulders. I think he would be fine.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine with it.
Does Justin Fields be fine with it? Because in my mind, in this scenario, right, we're getting the 103 or higher passer rating Russell Wilson.
Let's be honest. If he saw the way that Wilson played last year, he knows that he's not worried about not getting playing time.
He's not worried about that. So my question about this remains: does Justin Fields stay with Pittsburgh, or do we see a team that didn't pursue anything this year and didn't get what they wanted in the draft go after him for a starting quarterback?
Yeah, because I don't think they'll re-sign Wilson if he doesn't have a good season anyway. So I think he's out.
Even with Justin Fields, regardless of what happens this year, moving on to next year, if they don't pick up his option, he's not going to get this big contract anyway. So any team that shoots for him after this year is going to be able to get him for cheap regardless. It's not going to be
I like that situation for him.
When does the veteran minimum kick in for a quarterback? Is it 5 years? Is it 5 years?
I think it's after your first
after your first rookie deal.
I think it's after your first contract.
Even if he doesn't re-sign with Pittsburgh after this year, I think somebody might sign him for $10 million, maybe 15.
Whichever quarterback.
But does it stay in the backup or starting position?
No, I think somebody's going to sign him to be a starter, but I think they're waiting to see what happens.
Maybe Tennessee and the Will Levis experiment doesn't work out?
Right now, he's probably better than at least 3 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, let's be honest.
He's better than Zach Wilson. He's better than...
Not a starter.
I'm saying he was a starter this year.
In 2023, just in 2023, the start.
Technically, this year he was better than who's the guy for the Seattle Seahawks? He was pretty bad this year. Geno was pretty bad this year.
Yeah. They put too much money in that motherfucker.
They put too much pressure on that motherfucker. He is not. Geno is not him. Not like that. Like, I think it's a weird situation because I think whichever quarterback does better, either Fields or Russ, is going to stay, and Pittsburgh's gonna offload whoever, right? Because like I said, Fields, if he comes in and balls out and earns a contract, you got one of the most athletic quarterbacks on the market. The kid is young, kid can scramble, kid has a absolute cannon. He's not the most accurate at times, but he's got an absolute cannon. So if he comes in and balls out and he becomes your starter and then you draft a backup, so be it, because Russell doesn't cost you anything.
Mike, you know how I know he's him?
Ask
them too, because they had to see him play for how many years?
At Ohio State.
Saw him all 4 years he was there.
Yeah.
No, you had to witness that shit.
But to be fair, it's a Chicago thing for us. We don't care. And sorry, Paul, but when he was drafted to Chicago, I know I was pissed. I was like, God damn it. They're gonna get their guy.
The potential was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the other thing. The other thing you were asking about. Will he stay a backup or go starter? Don't forget who the Minnesota Vikings signed to be their starting quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, that's Sam Darnold. That's what I'm saying. I think Minnesota's an option. Or the 2026 season, 2025 into Minnesota, Seattle, Tennessee.
There's a bunch of teams.
Carolina.
There's a bunch of teams, but if I'm in the front office, I know this.
This just brings us into all them haters. It's time for a little break.
All right.
Protect yourself and your PC with NordVPN. Proudly protecting the Boys in the Woods podcast from haters since 2023.
Since 2023. And talking about protection, we're going to move right into a little draft talk. They're on the clock. And now that we're all on the same page, I've been on this page for a minute. I believe Patrick has also. But now that we're all on the same page.
I got my other monitor up here, and I'm just literally scrolling through. I was looking for the David Bakhtiari thing earlier. And you know what? It's the Wikipedia page, Charles, is very interesting. If you should look it up. Look up the definition of all of the positions.
I will.
It's exactly how Mike said.
Well, yeah.
Just ask the question already, Charles. Just go ahead.
So here it comes. The Chicago Bears are on the clock, and rightfully so. Decision well made. Made way too late, whatever. the decision has been made. So here we go. You're on the clock. We're obviously taking a quarterback. Now, the three that everyone's talking about, the big three, you got corn on the cob, Drake May. You've got Caleb Williams.
I can't wait for our draft episode so that I hope they don't announce who they're drafting so we get to see him squirm on draft night. Because this is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to be relaxed until about 5 minutes before the pick comes in.
My anxiety is going to be going chaotic.
You know why? Because that's the future. That's what you said.
This is the thing. This is my take. So, yes, I'm under the assumption, again, because Chicago has not shown their cards this whole offseason, this whole process, especially when they pulled the trigger with Justin Fields. Nobody knew when it was going to happen, what was going to happen, what the compensation was, all that jazz. But it's almost 100%, I would say 99.9%, because there's always that small take, that the first overall pick is going to be Caleb Williams coming into Chicago. It's almost undeniable.
Yeah.
My question is, with this team, because Mike talked about this earlier, this is probably one of the most loaded offenses that Chicago has had in a long time in all aspects with every position offensively. Yeah. Defense, usually it is what it is. They always do what they do on defense. But offense has always been one thing that we never focused on heavily like we have this offseason. And now Caleb Williams, as a rookie, is coming into a loaded offense. Expectations, from what I'm hearing, as Charles said, the scuttlebutt, is at least 10 wins and has to make the playoffs. That is, if we can't get that, this whole process was a bust.
Realistically, 9 wins probably will get you in the playoffs next year.
That's a big play. Let's talk about this, right? Because the Chicago fans need to understand something real quick. Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, fucking
Trash.
All these really great quarterbacks, right?
Trash.
They went, I think, combined 1-33 in their first season, right? Like
Peyton Manning was blue trash.
That dude had 57 interceptions. Okay, it's crazy. Okay? Maybe not that many. Tongue in cheek,
but it was bad.
But it was fucking bad. The same thing happened in Green Bay to us. Okay, now we were in a much better boat, and I don't mean to say it like that, but you had fans screaming about Jordan Love in the first 6, 7, 8 games, and it's, y'all, what the frank is going on? Even Aaron Rodgers won 6 fucking games his first year, right? And he had a touchdown interception ratio of 20-something to mid to high teens, I believe it was, or mid to low teens. Regardless, Caleb Williams is not in the NFC South. So Caleb Williams is the first round draft pick. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers, who are good. And they got even better on defense and offense, which I didn't think offense was needed. You have the Detroit Lions, who are still really good. And they're still... Caleb Williams might win 9, 10 games and not even be in the fucking playoffs.
But why are we putting the impossible comparison of comparing him to CJ Stroud? Because that kind of thing doesn't happen that often. It doesn't.
I agree. I think we're on we're on the other side of this seesaw. I really do, and I believe the Bears are playing for that. I do. You picked up a couple big contracts to get the dude his weapons and his comfortability, and those 1 years will drop off. You'll have when you look at the 2026 cap space, the Bears are right there looking to be in another really good position for next year. I wish the fans would give the kid a chance and focus on growth in the first season and aspirations in the second season.
That's not going to happen because they signed. You want to know why that's not going to happen? Because a couple of those players they only signed to 2-year deals. They're not going to wait around they're not going to waste a season on a guy they spent $17 million on. No, it's winter. It's winter not now.
I appreciate your optimism, Charles. I appreciate your sense of logic when it comes to being patient. But are you smoking crack?
Hey, we're not talking about a losing streak that's the Cubs here. It's only been since '85. We could go one more year.
Listen, I am okay with giving Caleb Williams 2 years before I start just giving him the bloody ears of, hey, you suck.
Yes.
I know Mike feels differently about Caleb Williams, and we'll let him have his piece in a second.
Yeah.
At this point, this is how I'm seeing it. Caleb Williams is here. It's inevitable. It's happening. This is what we're doing. It is what it is. I'm like, at any rate, it's a rookie QB coming in next year. Yeah. Period. Whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Penix, Bo Nix, Jaden, it doesn't matter. It is a rookie quarterback taking the reins of this offense next year.
Is that how you ranked all of them? Are those all? No, is that how they're ranked in your head? Okay.
No, that's just how they popped in my brain. Because we're not doing Tyson Bagent. There's just no way. We're giving
Why
him the reins.
not? Come on now. He's a veteran.
You better knock on wood, bro.
Well,
you better knock on wood.
Here's a Chicago Bear draft scenario I'm throwing at you real quick. I don't think the Bears love Caleb Williams. I think they're in love with
Caleb Williams.
I think they're in love with Jaden Daniels. I think the Patriots love Caleb Williams. I think the Bears trade to 3 because Washington's taking Drake May.
When you say that, you know what? I get flashbacks of Mitchell Trubisky. Why the fuck are we trading down? Just fucking draft him. Why are you trading down? Just draft him.
I'm telling you something that could happen.
It's just stupid. If you're
because you wouldn't want to trade down if the Pats said, okay, here's a 3rd round pick in addition to a pick swap. That's extra capital. Listen, you guys need offensive line help.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I know for a fact that you are salivating over Caleb Williams and you want this as a solidified choice as the number one, I am going to fleece you even if we're swapping down just a pick. But it's just at this point, I'm tired of all the goddamn circus. I'm over it. I'm tired.
Can you imagine Chicago Bears fans, right? Okay, so 1 trades to 2, and then 2 trades to 3, just to make sure 2 didn't want what the Bears want to take at 3, and just get all that draft capital in, man. What?
I hear you. Listen.
Any word on what Fields is getting, money-wise, anyway, from Pittsburgh? Or is that
not yet? They haven't announced it yet.
Not yet. No. I'm just saying. I don't care who we get at quarterback at this point. I really don't. I am a firm believer. I think we've talked about this before. I don't know. I may be slow. I may be just hallucinating. If we're drafting a rookie quarterback, again, that's one of the most incredible positions, the most important position when it comes to a football team. You have to let them get used to the change. You're getting a new play caller. You're getting a new scenario.
Yeah.
It's different. You can't expect, again, you said it earlier, not one quarterback came in their rookie year and just destroyed the league in their rookie year, unless I'm wrong.
So I have
Kyler Murray and CJ Stroud are the most recent.
Breaking news? All right, breaking news.
We have a new logo.
Oh, boy. Hey,
that actually looks pretty fire. Hey, who put a thumbs down?
Who put a thumbs down?
It's because they see my thumbs on the back of the phone.
I think it keeps going like this. Nice.
I like it. Yeah, I think whoever we draft, we have to give them time. Yes. Especially because, listen, if for whatever some shitty reason we do sorry next year, there's a very good chance that Eberflus is gone. So now you're drafting a rookie quarterback to get another new head coach. And again, we're in the same fucking cycle that we've been in for the last 20 years.
Here's the thing. I want your opinion on this. You're a Bears fan. If they do they're going to take a quarterback, number one. It doesn't matter which one it is. But I think Mike and I both agreed on this, is that they should try to trade up and take the offensive tackle from Notre Dame because the dude's a freaking dog. And he's a no-brain starter pretty much right away. Right. I think what was his name? Ott or something? That's what it was.
That's going to be tough because so you've got quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3, and then you've got Marvin Harrison Jr. going 4, and so you're going to have to go to 5 because 5 is taken.
You think he's going to go to 5?
Yeah.
When there's 8 teams in the top 10 that need quarterbacks, and he's going to go to 5.
No, I don't think. I think Joe Alt's going to either fall to the Giants.
He's going to go in the top 10.
I think he's going to fall to the Giants at 6, or he's going to hit 10.
If you're talking about a guy who's game ready right now, who's on that board that needs him, where you got to go? That's what I'm saying. You got to get to 5.
Yeah, you could, but you could still. You could trade 9 to 5 pretty easily and give them a 3rd round or even a 4th round pick to enhance that, because the
as long as you
from,
promise you're not going to take a quarterback or something on them.
Protect yourself and your PC with NordVPN. Proudly protecting the Boys in the Woods podcast from haters since 2023.
I don't trust anybody in this goddamn draft.
I'm sorry, it's slipping me right now.
Hold on, I'll get the draft positions.
He looks that up. I just got an alert.
All right, at 5 we have the Chargers, and they're not taking an offensive lineman.
No, they might.
And they're not taking a quarterback.
Okay, so I agree. Not that it mattered if I disagreed or didn't, but
why would the Giants not take a quarterback?
Well,
because they have a $45 million quarterback.
And they just traded for Drew Lock. Come on, that's a quarterback room anybody would want.
Oh my God!
I just wanted to troll you guys for a minute.
The Chargers could trade back. You're talking about
they're in a good position.
You're talking about
picks
rebuilding
because they need to save money. They need to save
money.
money.
Chargers would probably be the spot to trade down to.
And the Chargers can probably get who they want at 5, at 9, unless.
So realistically, it looks like the Giants and the Bears would be the best situation to trade that pick.
And where is the Giants?
So let me ask you this:
6.
So
at 6.
We draft quarterback at first, right? Let's just say hypothetically, we draft quarterback at first, or like you said, Pat, and I'm perfectly fine if we take Alt. That's fine. Again, I don't need Caleb Williams, but let's say they draft Joe Alt at number 1, trade up with the Chargers. Chargers, I would take Chargers just because it's a better likelihood, since there's nothing in that top 5 that they need drastically. Trade that down for 9. Give us 5. You take 9.
Well, and whatever probably a player in the draft that would make the Chargers a playoff team anyway.
Joe Alt at number 5. I would be okay, or take a quarterback, whatever's left. Pick one of the quarterbacks that's left, and just roll with it. Somebody keeps sending me rumors that we need to draft Joe Alt at 1 and J.J. McCartney at 9. And if we take J.J. McCartney at 9, I'm going to flip shit.
No, Charles already said this. He's going to Minnesota, and that he is linked to Minnesota, big time. So
I
don't know where are they at.
Nothing against the kid. He's a great.
Do you think this
23?
Do you think this kid's draft stock rose simply because of the fucking check mark by Harbaugh?
Yeah,
nobody showed up.
Yeah.
So he was pretty clutch the entire season, though. Yeah. Getting that.
I thought personally he needed a little time to grow. I think he's going to get that in Minnesota. And,
how tall is he?
He's 6'3". He's an NFL quarterback, dude.
He is. He was like the 3rd or 4th fastest quarterback.
And you guys take him.
No.
Sit him behind Love for 6 years and let Love develop into a Hall of Famer, and then
he's 6'3".
Do it all over again.
He's a poor man's Trevor Lawrence. That's what I would compare him to.
There's a lot of potential
legs.
there. There's a lot of potential there. I do see it. I just the hidden dark horse here, right? If I'm trading out of my number 1 position, I want a 2nd round pick.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears don't have a 2nd round pick.
Something has to get attached to it.
The Bears don't have a 2nd round pick, so they're not going to.
I think we only have 4 picks left in.
You're not going to give one of your high 3rd round picks because you don't have a 2nd round pick.
Yeah, you need that. You need that capital.
So I don't.
Unless you trade out of 1, get capital. That's where you could, because if the Giants are really that desperate, or the Pats are that desperate, which I think the Pats might be with Gerard Mayo, because they don't have a quarterback, literally at all.
Why does it have to be this year's pick anyway?
I have Minnesota.
It doesn't have to be this year's pick. It could be a 2027 3rd rounder for all they fucking care. It doesn't have to be a 1st round pick or this year.
Yeah, I have Minnesota.
I think if we're trading down or trading up with the 9th pick, I think the only 2 people we could trade the 1st round pick with, the 1st overall pick, it's only going to be Washington or New England. I feel like those are the only 2.
Right.
I feel like that we can get enough, because those are the only 2 teams right now that actually are desperate for that top tier quarterback outside of us.
Now Belichick's gone. If you traded it to New England, they'd fuck it up anyway. So
it depends on I think it depends on the quarterback big board. The Patriots might not like who they have at 3 or below. So Minnesota acquired 2 another first round draft pick.
Yes, they're at 11. I think they're 11 and 23. Yes.
I can see the Patriots trading with Minnesota, going back to 11 and acquiring that 23 while looking at next year's quarterback draft. That's the thing. If you're looking at draft capital, who's going to trade out of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're not going to get to them with just a second-round draft pick when you've got Minnesota with a first-round draft pick going, yo, whatever you think you can do, it's not going to be better than switching a first-round and acquiring that second first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
So
this draft is going to be a shit show.
Yeah. So I think with everything inside of me that you'll either see number 3 or number 4 go to 11 and acquire that 23, and Minnesota's going to jump up, and they're going to take one of those big 3, which we have McCarthy linked to Minnesota, but I like McCarthy with the Raiders, especially since the Raiders did nothing with Justin Fields. There was some other teams that asked about Justin, but Justin only wanted to go to the Steelers, and the agent and the organization did right by Justin Fields. So if you want to believe any of that's fine. I'm thinking the Raiders with McCarthy, Minnesota to 3 or 4.
I don't think he's going to get drafted. If McCarthy goes to anybody, he's not going in the top 10.
He's not going in the top 10, and I would be fucking crazed out my ass if he goes 11 through 14.
I just meant any of those teams that are going to draft, move up into 10 aren't going to take him. So that's all I meant.
Is he this year's Will Levis?
No. I think if JJ gets in a good spot, he's an NFL quarterback.
No,
he's a game manager.
I just mean hype wise. Whereas everybody hyping him into his first round.
Is he that guy this year?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't he the only quarterback that showed up? So
yeah, he's gonna sit JJ. I feel bad for these kids when they sit and they don't get drafted the first night. It's all fucking embarrassing and shit.
What I think about it is when that happens, the only 2 names that come to mind when that happens is Aaron Rodgers and what's his name? Johnny Manziel, sitting there all the way to like the mid-20s and just sitting, just like, what is happening?
He's going back to him and his family.
He's sitting there
like on his phone, like texting the whole time, like, I can't believe they didn't fucking take me yet.
Johnny Manziel thought he had enough coke to go from 1 to 10. He didn't realize he was going to be there from 10 to 25.
I think Johnny Manziel was on the phone with his agent the entire time, telling him, why the fuck?
What is wrong? What did I hire you for?
Where's my hookup? Where's my hookup? Hashtag save red.
This draft, just with the positions itself and the players that are available, because again, this shit can go either way. Because usually every draft we're almost pretty certain who's going to go number 1. And at the beginning of the college year, we all were in agreement that it's probably going to be Caleb Williams, just because how he played at USC, winning the Heisman, all that jazz. Yeah. But then coming into this college year, it did not pan out the way that we thought it was going to be for USC and Caleb Williams and all that. And then his attitude during this whole process from before the combine, during the combine, how he's handling meetings and stuff like that and requests and all that. It's just like, is he that good?
For that, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And his other quarterbacks are still good, but are they as good as Caleb Williams, or is Caleb Williams not as good as we think he is? Is somebody else the number 1 consensus pick? There's just been the most confusing.
Have we ever met a player that was a consensus number 1 draft pick back-to-back years? Because if he would have went last year, he would have gone number 1.
Oh, that was Trevor Lawrence.
And
this year,
I think
so. Trevor Lawrence. But we're talking consensus number 1. So
it was undoubtable.
Absolutely. And this year,
there was no doubt.
The number 1, the consensus number 1 outside of your Dan Orlovsky's is Caleb Williams.
Idiot.
So it's hard to not put money on a pie that's showing me 60+% as a win, because you're talking with these consensus overall picks. I believe the number on it was they pan out. Oh, I wish I had the exact number.
It's 30. It's 33% of the time.
When they are a consensus, when like we have now, they're panning out over 60-some% of the time. I'll pull the stat up They're the only position.
Consensus is still speculatory. It's just those people. It's all about clicks. It's all about headlines. It's the consensus doesn't. You're talking about sports writers and stuff. You're not talking about NFL teams. Like I'm pretty sure every coach has a different choice on who would be number one.
Yeah, I don't think you're never. I can't remember the last time a player would have been somebody I thought every NFL coach wants to take him at number one, because I don't think that was the case. I don't think
every
NFL
Lawrence. Team would want to take Caleb Williams at number one.
No,
for sure.
Absolutely not. Like you have people who don't need that, and I am on the Dan Orlovsky train where I don't think Caleb is nearly as good as people think he is, and I think.
Are you the other quarterback after the other consensus number one pick after Trevor Lawrence? Joe Burrow.
Was it Joe Burrow?
That makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
But he's actually panning out the way that he's supposed to.
So let's throw the Nathaniel Hackett effect out. Let's get the Trevor Lawrence eyeballs out this. Let's start looking at it from a Joe Burrow perspective. We're talking about the next Joe Burrow.
Fuck no.
Caleb Williams?
Yes.
If is he the next?
No. I'm saying projections and draft.
No.
I think here's the thing, right? These projections are cool because they're factual. They're factually based, right? They take a look at the history of this person's stats and what history they have and how they perform. But the problem is, I still believe that college, no matter what conference you're in, SEC, ACC, I don't care. College is not the NFL. And we've seen that with, what's his name? Trevor Lawrence has not lived up to expectations nearly as much as people wanted him to.
To bring more color into this conversation than just Trevor Lawrence, right? So the last 10 number one draft picks, Bryce Young, Travion Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Jadeveon Clowney. I think that's a 7-3 split. 7 hit, 3 miss.
I think it should go the other way, but it should be 6-4 maybe.
Yeah, 4 hits.
So regardless, we're above 6.
Run that list again. All
right, let's just start counting the people that aren't, not the people.
That's what I'm saying.
Charles, it's opinionated, so don't get mad.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody put their hands up.
All right, we're just gonna count.
That are not.
Yeah.
I can't see it. I'm on a different page, so don't do me like that.
I want to play the game.
We'll leave it up once you're done. We'll leave it up once you're done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, one question: do we accept Bryce Young because it's 1 year in? Yes or no?
I think we know what we're going to get from the guy.
Okay, because you guys want an extra number, we'll allow Bryce Young.
Sure, he'll be 11.
So Bryce Young.
Are we saying if
bust.
Isn't.
He's a bust?
Bust.
Oh, yeah.
Bust. Okay, so you guys will count him out. All right. Travon Walker, defensive end, Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Jadeveon Clowney.
So I said 4.
Yeah, I'd say
2.
I said 4.
4 misses, 6 hits.
I guess if you wanted to, I guess the way that I determined 4, and I think Mike agrees with me on this, the reason you and Charles are probably on this boat is that the reason those other 2 guys that we have probably are busts is because the way their careers fucking ended.
But they're still, and I don't disagree with you.
Charles, they're number 1. If you're number 1, you should be close, if not almost teetering towards not a Hall of Fame career, but at least like an all-pro level career. And those guys didn't have all-pro level careers. They had great careers.
Trayvon Walker is the one I will give an exception to because yes, his first year was absolutely. His first year was he didn't even peak like he should have, but the second year,
he's gotten a lot better.
He's learned how to bend his hand movement so much better. So, I don't think he's a bust at all. I think he's going to develop into a nice defensive end.
Defensive players usually take way longer than offensive player anyway to start showing the talent.
I still think we need to give Bryce Young a little time. I don't think Jesus could have done anything behind that Panthers team last year.
I tend to agree with that we can give him a year, maybe 2.
Right.
Because Carolina's completely rebuilding, obviously. They just let their
The number one pick this year very well could have been an offensive tackle.
Big dummies.
I wouldn't say it's the player, though. It's like you said, Charles, they're going to ruin them just like the Bears have ruined some really good quarterbacks over the years. Sorry, Paul, but you know
it. Facts, though.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is,
that's why he's saying it with malicious intent.
He's going to stay there. His career is going to be a bust because he's there, not because he's a bad player. That's my opinion.
I think this is one thing we can't agree on, especially because Bryce Young is just the latest of this never-ending cycle of getting drafted number 1 and getting drafted to a shitty team. Now, the Bears, I think this is probably the first time that I've seen it in my lifetime. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as when it comes to football, where a number 1 draft pick is going to be going to arguably winning as one of the worst teams last year and coming out probably a good team, not great, but a good team that a quarterback from a rookie standpoint coming into a team that is, oh snap.
Oh yeah. I think the Bears have laid a blueprint for what teams will do in the future.
So I'm like, that's why I agree with your argument with Bryce Young, because yes, last year was atrocious for that team. Like it was from top to bottom, it was trash.
I think what we should take from this though is that when we're on this list, okay, so Bryce Young wasn't a consensus number 1 pick, but I believe Walker was on the defensive side. I think that had a lot to do.
You just said it was the last 10 number 1s. That you didn't say they were consensus. We just went with the number 1 pick.
Yes. Yeah. So I was trying to go through the list to see on those consensus, and looking at the list, it's situational. It's a lot of situational.
So whoever the team at top needs.
If Carolina held their number 1 pick this year, would they be taking a quarterback?
No. They'd probably be taking an offensive weapon.
So Caleb Williams then isn't the consensus number 1 overall pick. That would be the offensive tackle from Notre Dame.
Probably.
Or another one.
I think it's
Carolina.
If Carolina had this pick still, I think they would trade back and take Alt. They would trade like the Pats and take Joe Alt.
So then Caleb Williams,
they would have still drafted a quarterback last year regardless. Whether it was Bryce Young or not, they would have still drafted a quarterback last year regardless.
So I believe that as much as I want to say this might be a blueprint for the future, hell, the Chicago Bears may have just found themselves in a situation where they're the third bear on Moses's boat and the boat left the fucking dock. Okay.
Realistically, they did a redraft last year, and I believe the consensus was CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
The way this year, like when they did the redraft, CJ Stroud did go.
It's not like he was that far off. He was up. He was up there.
I think the thing that hurt him last year was that IQ test that he bombed.
It's bull.
Are you talking about the Wonderlic? That's
stupid.
Yeah, and he got like the fourth.
Four of us should take that because it's hilarious when you do it.
Yeah, I think it was like the 4th or 5th out of the top 5 QBs, and clearly that IQ test didn't mean jack squat because clearly
that
CJ Stroud outperformed every quarterback.
So we can do it and see which players we got better than.
Absolutely. That's hilarious.
I'm better than you.
We'll do that. Now, okay, so that's the Chicago Bears. There's a lot going on. We know they're taking with everything under the sun, says Caleb Williams. So now we've got the Commanders. Are the Commanders taking Drake May or Jaden Daniels?
They're linked to Drake May pretty hard.
So we've got Washington linked to Drake May. Who do you take at number 2?
I would take Jaden Daniels at number 2, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I completely go Jaden Daniels.
Paul?
I personally would take Jaden Daniels just for the simple fact that I'm like
his legs and his arms.
He's an athlete. Yeah.
My only concern when it comes to Washington and mobile quarterbacks is RG3.
Yeah, but they have a whole different ownership group, a whole different.
Right. I get it. So I'm like, but I think because you're basically having to start over. You're having to start over in Washington from top to bottom. So you might as well start with the most important position. Now, my only advice for Washington.
I mean, they did steal 2 offensive linemen.
If you're drafting a quarterback, which 9 times out of 10 you're going to draft a quarterback, don't pull a Houston Texans when they drafted Derek Carr and don't draft anybody to protect this man. And then he gets sacked like 60 times in one season.
They already did. Washington went and got the offensive tackle from one from the Giants and one from the Cowboys.
So they just have to do it differently. And I'm like, but honestly, consensually, they have to go quarterback. It makes no other sense.
I think there are only 2 quarterbacks that are top 10 draft worthy in this draft. And I think the Patriots draft out of 3 so Minnesota can get their friendly guy. I really do. I think you've got Caleb Williams and you've got Drake May. And I don't have a whole bunch of faith in Drake May, and that might be the Mitchell Trubisky effect. But
the Sam Howell effect, Charles, because that's who he couldn't beat out as a starting quarterback at North Carolina. We talked about this. He couldn't beat out Sam Howell, who is now not even on the team that fucking drafted him anymore.
And we just get rid of North Carolina.
My fear with Jaden Daniels is how tiny he is.
He's not tiny.
Yes, he is.
Play So Rare Fantasy Football, NBA, MLB with Tradable Player. Customizable fantasy sports picks of your favorite MLB, soccer, and NBA players with purchasable NFTs.
Listen, if Kyler Murray can succeed in the goddamn football field, Jaden Daniels is going to be just fine.
Don't look at his height. Look at his weight. Look at his weight matched with his height.
What does weight have anything to do?
Bro, you're talking about a quarterback.
Bryce Young is still in one piece. He's going to be
Sam Howell just got sacked 55 times.
I mean, yes, did you not just hear what I said? They just replaced their
yes, the offensive line got better, but I'm telling you,
a lot better. They got that guy from the Cowboys who is a fucking awesome dude at the Wisconsin Badgers, Biadiaz or whatever his name is.
Biadiz, Tyler Biadiz, the center. Jaden Daniels, 6'4", 210 pounds. He could use some weight put on him.
I'm telling you,
he's not hard to do.
But my point, that's if I said top 10 quarterback.
Dude, that guy would beat the shit out of me, and I'm almost 300 pounds. You're telling me that
how big is Lamar Jackson?
210 pounds is not little. Come on, man.
I'm telling
Lamar's got to be 225.
Look at what happened to Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson is because he took off and freaking tried to run up the gut.
But they're the same type of quarterback. They play the
Lamar
same
Jackson is 6'2", 215. I'm telling you, Jaden Daniels is gonna be just fine.
You just made Chucky's argument.
That's
he's
the same size. Hurt all the time.
He's the same size as Jaden, and Lamar is what?
Hurt
a
all
two-time
the time.
MVP.
It doesn't matter.
Regular season drama queen.
What's the best ability to have as a quarterback? Availability.
I'm telling you, if you're in the NFL, what are you trying to do? Win regular season games or win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but this would be an actual problem if you said that this guy had problems getting hurt. He's never had injury issues.
But we're talking about my fear in the NFL is that if he doesn't have time to grow, he'll be broke before he blossoms. What do you...
Mike, can you run me that stat on Jaden Daniels one more time? Height and weight, please. Height and weight.
6'4", 210.
All right, you ready? Are y'all ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Charles, this is for you.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, 6'2", 219. Patrick Mahomes, 6'2", 225. Jaden Daniels is going to be just fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I think size-wise, this is
Say something about winning because Patrick Mahomes got 3 of them.
If Jaden Daniels
ends up with that offensive line and a tight end like Travis Kelce, he should do fine.
If Jaden Daniels,
we talk about height and weight. That's what we're talking about.
If he puts on 10 or 15 pounds, I think he's going to be a monster.
Because if he can't put on 10, 15 pounds, he don't deserve to be in the NFL. Because honestly, come on, let's just be realistic.
With the weight rooms they have in these organizations,
you're going to use your top 5 draft pick on a guy that has to put on more weight.
Yeah, because if that's
it's not hard to put on muscle.
He can do that in one summer.
I'm thinking that extra first round draft pick sounds like hard
in 3 days.
Look, if that's the only
Charles
issue,
is trying to troll us so hard. I see it in his face.
If that's the guy's only issue, is that he has to put on 10 pounds, but he had 46 touchdowns last year. Yeah, I'm good, and he played in a high pressure school.
The cool thing about the NFL, one of the things I love, right, is that we're always talking about who's the next this. There's no way Jaden Daniels is the next Lamar Jackson. Jaden Daniels will be, or potentially he could be amazing, but players like Lamar Jackson are, who was before Lamar Jackson?
Michael Vick.
But again, in the caliber of everything, did Michael Vick win 2 MVPs? Did he win a MVP?
No, he did not.
No.
Okay,
they both on Madden covers.
But with Michael Vick, great point. With Michael Vick, we were talking Warren Moon. right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like
with Michael Vick, you were talking about Donovan McNabb, Randall Cunningham.
Right.
Shit, who's the guy in for the Vikings?
Culpepper?
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, Dante Culpepper.
Guys like that.
So our most recent thing is going to be like, oh my God, he could be like Lamar Jackson. We ain't getting another Lamar Jackson. I'll die.
Well, I'm not saying that he's going to be Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying as far as height and weight wise, I think Jaden Daniels would be just fine. Because again, most issues when it comes to quarterbacks is the height.
Lamar Jackson had a lot of scrutiny coming out of college.
Well, didn't one of those idiots told him that he should switch to
somebody tried to make him a wide receiver.
I think it was Colin Hurd said he as a receiver so he can make it in the league. I'm like,
because he did struggle at Louisville versus teams that played like a 3-4 and had a nickel package or played zone against them or something. But he's had those issues in the NFL too. That's why it doesn't matter.
He's still overcome quarterback. So. Yeah, this is the thing, right? He's fantastic in the regular season. I think the problem with Lamar is going to be his inability, and all of us can agree with it. If you cannot get it done in the postseason, if every postseason is a disappointment, every single one, you start to become postseason Kirk Cousins.
You heard me say I've thrown the Buffalo Bills out. I don't ever want to hear about the Buffalo Bills.
This is my thing. So here's the question then. Let's say the Ravens draft good this year. Let's just say hypothetically they fill the holes that they need to fill in the draft this year. Adding Derrick Henry to that backfield, how much greater does that make them as far as a contender?
I'm way more afraid of them in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm way more afraid of them because you can literally hand the ball off to the
You could say the reason they lost is that they didn't hand the ball off. They tried to throw the ball too much.
But now you actually have a running
back. The only human being on planet Earth that ran for 2,000 yards in a high school season, ran for 2,000 yards in a college season, and ran for 2,000 yards in an NFL season.
Here's the thing. What are your expectations stat-wise for Derrick Henry for this first year as a Ravens to be like, okay, they're doing something?
1,200 yards, 12 plus
ideally,
touchdowns.
what do you need?
1,200 yards, 12 plus touchdowns.
Yeah,
12 plus touchdowns. I would like to see him around 20, which means that now I'm way afraid of the
red zone defense. That red zone offense is.
Yeah, now I'm way afraid.
He probably won't get 1,200 yards because they share the ball too much.
But you've got way too many weapons
touchdowns.
On that.
He's probably going to be up around 12 to 14.
So I would say 900 to 1,300 yards, somewhere in that range is a good season plus 12.
He's
15
touchdowns. I think the fear of Lamar Jackson is going to open up way more holes for Derrick Henry.
And this thing, he can catch too. So overall, he could have a CMC type year where he has 1,900 yards overall.
Probably under 1,500, like Charles said. He'll probably have 1,200 and 300 and some yards probably receiving. Yeah. So 1,500 yards and maybe 15 touchdowns is what that's what you're hoping for. Like Charles said, that's what you're hoping for.
That's what you're.
If he has that kind of year,
13 wins probably.
Yeah, you plus or minus 150 left or right of the 1,200 yards. Yeah, absolutely.
And let's say Lamar eclipses 4,000 yards. Let's just say for just
passing
that purpose. Let's say he eclipses
if he runs for 4,000 yards in the season, we need to shut down
the whole league. He forced Gump the whole league.
Let's just say offensive weapons. Let's just say this, and we're gonna run the top to bottom.
One pass.
Let's say Lamar throws for over 4,000. Let's say he throws for 28, runs for 600, and gets like 12 on the ground. Let's just say, right? And then Zay Flowers and his other receiver, we're not going to call the tight end just yet. Let's say the receivers both grab 1,000 with, let's say, 6 apiece, right? And then the tight end gets about 800-900 yards with 4 tutties. Derrick Henry gets like overall 1,500 yards, like Patrick says, and we'll say 15 touchdowns overall, passing and rushing. How scary is that offense, hypothetically?
I mean, in the regular
terrifying.
season,
that's 13, 14 wins is from just statistically.
In the regular season, absolutely. But we
know the defense. The
Buffalo versus Baltimore in the playoffs. I'm picking Buffalo. If Buffalo made it to the fucking playoffs, I don't want to hear about them all season. But let's just say they fucking make it there.
Let's see who they replace Patrick Queen with. He was a younger guy. They could get another Patrick Queen, but it's not going to be this year. It might be 2 years from now.
Josh Allen in the playoffs is a good fucking quarterback.
When he plays Patty.
Patrick Queen was a first rounder, but he was a late first round pick from LSU.
Yep. I think you're getting with Derrick Henry to Baltimore. I think one, The first image that comes to my head when I think about Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry in those all black Ravens uniform with just the purple band, so he starts to look like the Grim Reaper.
Wait
That's
till
gonna
they
be
do that. Are you talking about the Ray Lewis throwbacks when they
Yes.
do those?
Oh
yeah,
my
those are gonna
God.
be dirty. Those are gonna be
when
dirty.
his visor's
I'm
all
telling-
black
I
out,
mean,
like
Does he wear a visor?
he
if the-
does.
Yeah.
If the Ravens don't have
Oh, that's
8
terrifying.
primetime games next year, they've fucked us as fans.
Bro, I
They
think
gave
when he-
Green
I
Bay the
don't
Green
know
Bay
what scares
Packers
me.
8 technical primetime games last year.
don't
Jordan
know
Love's
what it
first
is.
season.
I don't know what it is. When I see a full cage on a player, then they have a black visor attached to that full cage. and
it's terrifying.
Like this much space, and it's just straight up black, and it's like your whole. Like, I don't want to get hit by
Bro,
this
I'm
person.
telling you, wait till Baltimore does those all black with just the Ray Lewis purple sleeves and Derrick Henry standing all fucking 6'4" of his ass, 240
with his
pounds.
jersey tucked in, and you can see his
Yeah,
bottom
it's gonna
two
make
abs.
it's gonna make the Steelers games way interesting.
And now
Down,
Patrick Queen
smash,
has to try to take
smash
it back.
mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be amazing.
Ooh,
Who's got the
Patrick's
number?
gonna have to hit.
Who's
gonna
got
have
the
to
number
hit
4
Derrick?
pick?
Oh, I
was
don't
that
know.
But to answer your question, Patrick Queen went first round, 28th pick.
Yeah, so he's replaceable. They could. I'm not saying they're going to find him immediately, but they could potentially if they
I'm
do
like,
their
yeah.
research.
But I feel like just getting another receiver and just
Arizona.
replacing Patrick Queen is going to be the biggest thing for them. They need another receiver for sure, and they got to replace somehow Patrick Queen.
We're talking about receiver. Perfect segue. Pick number 4 is screaming Marvin
It's
Harrison.
going to be Marvin
Jr.
Harris, without a doubt.
So we got Kyler Murray with James Conner, Tyler McBride, Marvin Harrison. They did just lose Hollywood Brown. I believe Hollywood Brown just signed with Kansas City. So now Kansas City's got their over-the-top speed back. Kansas City, they are crazy. Win a Super Bowl with offense. Win a Super Bowl with defense. Win a Super Bowl with they won a Super Bowl with.
I think you guys forget
Offense,
Kansas City
defense.
likes to move up. People
Yeah,
don't realize
defense,
Kansas City likes to
offense,
move up like
defense,
4 or 5
offense.
spots and get a guy.
Yeah.
But so Arizona with Marvin Harrison. How does Arizona's offense look now? Because Kyler Murray with a full
Who's their coach
season.
again now?
When was the last time Kyler Murray was relevant?
When
He got
injured.
the season
when
he
he
got
was-
injured. He
even when
took
it was good,
Arizona
they
to the
were-
playoffs.
Yeah,
His
they,
rookie.
weren't
Jonathan
they weren't
Gannon
that
is their
good even
coach.
that year.
But who is it?
Gannon, Philly's
That
old
stats are not on your side on this one.
When was that not? Wasn't that not when the 49ers were god awful and the Rams were okay?
So what 2022?
Yeah,
I think this is
pretty
the
sure the
crazy
Niners
thing.
won 2 or 3 games that year. No,
This
they
is the
what? That
crazy
wasn't
thing.
22. That was 21.
I think where Kyler Murray is at now is Bryce Young's
That's the end of
ceiling.
his career.
I think that's as high as you can expect Bryce Young to hit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Before CJ Stroud, it was Kyler Murray. You guys understand that, right?
see, Bryce, like,
Kyler Murray had the
Murray
best
is-
rookie season anyone has seen and took his team to the playoffs. And then CJ Stroud just happened last year.
You
yeah,
want to sit here and talk about the fact that Jaden Daniels isn't going to be a good quarterback, and you're telling me that Kyler Murray, who's all like 5'8", is a really good quarterback. Come on, now.
Don't
Quit
misquote
giving
me.
this
Don't
shit.
misquote me.
Listen,
I didn't say Jaden Daniels isn't going to be a good
Yeah.
quarterback. I said he's not top 10 worthy because I think he needs to grow. He needs to
Well,
sit
the problem
behind
is
somebody.
he's
Kyler
going to go in
Murray
the
is
top
the
10.
top
and You're
10
going to be
quarterback.
wrong. So,
Well, if he gets hurt, then I'm going to come on the show and go, yo. And if not, then he's
Murray
the best.
got hurt, so
this is the
Yeah.
thing. With Jaden Daniels, I could see him going in the top 3 because one of the top 3 absolutely adore him. Or I could see him slipping to 15 to 20 because they don't adore him and they want somebody else. They're going a different direction, right? So Jaden Daniels is one of those cases. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. 6'4", 215 pounds.
did you just
I
think
think he's
Kyler
good.
Murray had the best rookie season of anybody of all time?
I was
Quarterback.
about to say, I thought Justin Herbert did.
Before CJ Stroud. Yeah, Kyler
What was I
Murray
gonna say?
had
That
pass
was-
inter-
That 20 touchdowns and 12 picks doesn't seem like a very good fucking season to me. But
Okay, hold on.
come on now, I think
Look,
you.
I'm looking it up.
I think you
He's a
forget.
90, dude. He's a 92 QBR for his career.
I don't give a shit.
On average, what do you mean you don't give a shit?
I'll fucking play. I'll play his ass in Call
That's
of Duty.
a 92
That's where
QBR
I'm
for
getting
his
my ass
career.
kicked.
Most quarterbacks don't reach mid 80s.
Good for him.
Hey, what do you need good for him? All of his stats.
94 touchdowns.
I'll just throw
he's got a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio that puts him in the middle of the pack in the NFL. All right. You have such love for this guy. I don't understand why.
I don't have love for him, but I can't stand the putting him in a boat. Trevor Lawrence and goddamn.
I just think Kyler.
What's his face there?
Kyler went into a situation where he's
211 consecutive passes to start his career without throwing an interception.
149 times in 6 seasons.
CJ Stroud had 219.
149 times in 6 seasons he's been put on his ass.
Okay, so that's Kyler Murray, not his offensive line.
Are you picking Murray over Stroud?
5 seasons he's been sacked almost 50 times a season. You got to be shitting me.
Kyler Murray went into a situation where he was fucked from jump. He went into a situation where
he's been to the Arizona Cardinals and he's managed a plus 90 QBR and took that team to the play.
I'm not saying that he's.
I don't know if I'm taking CJ or I don't know if I'm taking Kyler over CJ.
Absolutely not. I'm not saying Kyler Murray's not a good quarterback. Obviously, he's a starter. They haven't moved on from him. So even getting injured, he came back and played well enough where that front office and the coach is like, all right, we'll stay with you. But
yards, you want to see stat that's fucking terrible though? Yards per completion average 7 for his career. That's like bottom 29 in the NFL.
He's also 4.5 feet tall.
So yeah, he throws a lot of. He completes a lot of passes. That's why his QBR is high. But
Kyler Murray had Larry Fitzgerald at the end of his career for 12 seconds. Who is he?
He also had
what are you talking about? They've had great receivers in
Hopkins,
Arizona.
Right? How's Hopkins doing?
He's in Tennessee.
He also had him 3 years ago.
Which gives the guy a 90-plus QBR for his career.
Look,
Charles, but the way that QBR is factored in is based off completion percentage, yards per attempt. If he's only throwing 15 passes, your QBR could be 109. It doesn't mean you could have threw for 112 fucking yards. It doesn't mean you had a great game.
Okay, so let's throw something out. At the end of the season, if Kyler Murray's got plus 3,000 yards, plus 20 touchdowns, sub 12 interceptions, what are you saying?
Look at this, Charles. Let me go over his stats. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, QBR 87.4. 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 94.3. 24 touchdowns, 10 picks, 100.6. The stats don't fucking matter. It's just completions to whatever.
That's a 2-to-1 touchdown ratio with a pretty decent QBR, but that doesn't matter.
All right, Patrick.
Okay.
What are those win-loss? What's the win-losses on those?
I don't know. I think they were terrible. They were good 2 years, maybe. They made the play. Did they make the playoffs twice or just 1 year?
I think just once.
They made the playoffs, and then Kyler got hurt. No playoffs, and now Kyler got back.
I'm not arguing with you that it's because he's put in a shitty situation. I'm arguing with you is that his career is over because he's put in a shitty situation. He's not going to be better than what he's been in the past. He's not just going to be a 35 touchdown, 6 interception guy.
So
he's going
to be Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't add to that.
He's not. They're not getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
at 4.
Yeah, they are.
Who else are they taking?
But look, even if they don't get Marvin Harrison Jr., they get Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a fucking monster too. That's another target. Look, I'm more in the Patrick camp than I am in the Chucky camp, but at the same time, if they get an elite wide receiver and there's somebody who's a true difference maker, hybrid, not just somebody who's only doing one thing. If they get a Malik Neighbors who's going to make a difference, if you get a Marvin Harrison Jr. who's going to make a difference, it doesn't turn Kyler into a top 5 quarterback, but it damn sure helps get him to the top 15.
I don't even know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is an elite wide receiver because when they played Michigan, he got shut down against very good NFL caliber corners. Every player in the NFL is an NFL caliber corner. And
most of his stats came garbage time, because he ended up with over 102 tutties.
He does terrible in man-to-man physical coverage. He does awful.
Which is the point that Mike brought up, Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors is much quicker, and he's much more... He's raw, but he's very skilled. And then the receiver from Texas is better, I believe, too.
If you don't,
yes,
Xavier Worthy
the other guy,
Adonai Mitchell, Addy Mitchie, he's fucking sick. But that's the thing is this wide receiver class is so deep, right? If if somebody drafts MHJ, say somebody trades up, takes him number 1, right?
Oh, I think he's the second best. I'm just saying I don't think he's not going to be Justin Jefferson or whatever caliber.
I think the closest person to getting a chance to be anywhere near Justin Jefferson is Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be the biggest difference-making wide receiver in the league as far as a rookie.
Justin Jefferson just got Kirk Cousins paid.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
And I still don't know how he's getting money.
That dude, do you know what his fucking career?
Listen, I don't know
He's the second highest paid player in the NFL all time.
His career
I don't know who's
$300 million. How the fuck has Kirk Cousins made $300 million?
All I can think of is him on the freaking airplane with the gold chain going and holding it up.
I don't know who's pleased the NFL more. I'm not saying for amount, just for the sheer fact that how many jobs this motherfucker's got between Kirk Cousins and Sam Bradford. Them two stole positions for decades. For a whole decade.
That motherfucker. That fucking motherfucker, Sam Bradford, dole
from the Eagles, yeah.
Oh, I hate Sammy Sleeves so much.
Did he get you like 2 years? He got you for 2 years.
Chip Kelly, bro. That's the Chip Kelly effect. It's the Chip Kelly effect.
Bradford was robbing the whole NFL for over a decade.
You know what's worse? Do you know what's worse? Do you know who Sammy Sleeves' backup was his second year in Philadelphia?
Wasn't it Nick Foles?
No, it was the Sanchez, Mark Sanchez.
Shortly after the butt fumble.
Yes.
Those were some very dark years for Eagles fans. I think they want to talk about those.
A portion of before Michael Vick took over and right around the Sam Bradford era.
Sam Bradford is after Michael Vick.
Listen, you had Michael Vick, the Cobb, whatever guy, the guy that was supposed to be better than Michael Vick, which clearly that didn't pan out.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Cobb?
Kevin Cobb.
The fact that somebody said that he was supposed to be the better replacement for Michael Vick makes no sense to me.
Let's check this shit out, okay? We have had Tim Tebow play quarterback for us. We have had the Sanchez play quarterback for us. We have had Sammy Sleeves play quarterback for us. We have had Jeff Garcia play quarterback for us. Bro, we've had who's the Andy
I was like, bro,
you're
talking to a Bears fan.
Yeah.
That's like a
Their
Hall of Fame
one Pro Bowl
sportscasters.
quarterback, I believe, was fucking Jay Cutler. Bro, they have never had a 3,000-yard passer.
Wait,
do you want me to
you got no Chicago quarterbacks ever passed for 3,000?
3,000 yards, dude.
4,000.
I'm sorry, 4,000. I'm sorry. Still, 4,000.
I was like, holy shit.
I'm sorry. It's been a long time.
Cutler could have did it if he didn't throw 27 interceptions that one season because he was on pace.
I'm going to show you starting and backups for the last 10 quarterbacks.
You want to play quarterback games? Paul's going to be on here for about 2 minutes. There's about 6 pages worth of quarterbacks he's got to get through.
That was last year.
We'll go through Green Bay next.
That's not a long list. The year before that, Justin Fields, Trevor Siemian, and Nathan Peterson, probably the 2 worst backups on mankind. We held them.
Wow.
Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles. Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniels. Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniels. Mike Longneck Glennon.
Holy Christ.
Mike Glennon.
In 2016, Matt Barkley, Jay Cutler, Brian Hoyer. We had Jimmy Clausen, Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Jason Campbell, Caleb Haney, Todd Collins, Rex fucking Grossman, and Kyle Orton.
Yeah, they won you a Super Bowl, so.
He didn't win a shit.
Yeah, he did. He's got a ring, doesn't he?
He wasn't even
probably
him.
sold it.
He didn't.
Yeah, he probably did sell it.
I'm pretty sure he fell on hard times. He probably sold that ring.
2004, we had 4 starting quarterbacks in 2004. Craig Krenzel. Craig fucking Krenzel. Chad Hutchinson.
Okay.
Jonathan Quinn. You want to talk about quarterbacks? The only team that probably worse than us is Cleveland.
Detroit. No, Detroit went through it for a minute.
Actually, honestly, I think the Jets are probably the Jets have had the
Have you
Joe
had
Namath and no one
experience? Have you been robbed
Even
more?
Joe
Probably yes. but we have gone through a carousel of quarterbacks like no other person.
Bro, it's
and got the Green Bay Packers. What we had
shut up.
Jordan Love, and then we had Aaron Rodgers.
Who's that? Who's the guy that took
that?
all that money from all them people down there in Mississippi?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Brett?
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Yeah. We did have what's his face before that though.
Domikowski. And guess what? He also played for someone else.
That's funny. Before we jump on to some other stuff, I wanted to talk about Philly's adventure into free agency with this insanity.
And want to talk about the fact that we didn't think they were going to spend all of their money, and they didn't. And then they ended up getting a bunch of guys as well.
Yeah, I think obviously the Saquon Barkley move was the worst kept secret of the combine because we started hearing rumors about that. But that move makes me happy for the simple fact of a couple things. We had DeAndre Swift last year, and he ran for almost 1,100 yards. We had Miles Sanders the year before that. He ran for almost 1,300 yards, plus 10 touchdowns. You're putting Saquon Barkley, who is arguably still at 27 years old, top 3, top 4, at worst top 5 running back in the league, behind the offensive line that had the best pass block win rate last year, compared to New York Giants line, who had the 31st pass blocking win rate.
I can't believe they didn't get 32nd, to be God honest with you. When I looked those stats up, I thought when you said they were the worst offensive line, statistically, yes. But somehow, some way, they ended up not being dead last in pass blocking efficiency. It's weird.
Boys in the Woods merchandise. Get yourself some Boys Podcast swag here at boysinthewoods906.shop.
It's crazy. So I'm stoked for Saquon Barkley, obviously. Just like the Derrick Henry effect, because now you can't stack the box against Saquon and the Eagles. You can't put two safeties in the box because you've got a burner in Devontae Smith. You've got a yak monster in A.J. Brown who can still burn you over the top. And our tight end is one of the top, 5 tight ends in the league. It's so funny. I was watching Get Up or one of those morning sports shows, and Damian Woody, who I actually love because he's funny as shit. Damian Woody was like, if you break down position by position, including offensive line on the Philadelphia Eagles team, every starter is a Pro Bowler. Every single one is a Pro Bowler. So you have the potential for a freak show of an offense in Philly.
You know what I think y'all really need?
What?
Is Sirianni to not touch the offense.
He's not touching the offense.
It's entirely possible that the fans will probably had a lot to do with that.
No,
as long as he doesn't touch the offense, y'all are going to be great.
Basically wiping his hands free of it, because I think they called into the fan and they were throwing him under the bus that he had way too much input. They knew on the sideline when he was looking at shit that he was actually calling plays when he shouldn't have been. So
that, and Brian Johnson is not an offensive coordinator. Hasn't been in the league long enough to have an offensive coordinator job. But Jeffrey Lurie, when they made the announcement that they hired Vic Fangio and hired Kellen Moore, said, and even Sirianni said, he was like, "Look, this is Kellen Moore's offense.
It's going to be a completely different defense.
It's going to be completely different because
it should work. It should work.
Think about it. Kellen Moore is running some of the most motion in the league, so he's using motion really effectively. He also, the last time, his offenses have been some of the best in the league consistently.
I heard a stat with Saquon that while he played for the Giants, I think it was 46% of his runs, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage. 46% of his runs that gained yards, right? So 46% of those runs, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, yeah, he had a mediocre offensive line at Penn State too, and he was doing the same thing. That's why he got drafted so high, because he was a freaking animal.
What we're going to need to see from him, and we saw it at Penn State. We did, so we know it's there.
He got away from a lot of guys in the backfield. He ran away from people.
Like Mike was just bringing up, they're not going to stack the box anymore. So you're going to get the 4-6
roll
yarders.
Out on a tush push.
You're going to get the 4-6
they've
yarders.
Done that.
But what's going to happen when Saquon gets into that secondary?
Now they have the running back to do it more often.
It's no longer stacked in the box. So I am going to be interested to see if he gets his breakout runs. Obviously, 4 to 6 yards a carry is going to
to be great. The crazy thing is,
if he can average 5 yards a carry, that's just
easy. Fucking phenomenal.
Easy.
Right?
He'll be pushing at least 1 or 2 200-yard games.
It'll be a different environment.
The thing that you have to remember too is even with that bum ass Giants line, Saquon last year was something like a third or fourth.
247 rush attempts.
He was like third or
yards, 6 touchdowns.
He was like third or fourth in yards over expected, which is some really nerdy next gen stat. But
something about there's no hole, so it's negative or 1 yard. They just give him like this play, he didn't hit that hole, he went to this hole, so it's going to be projected 2-yard gain or something.
He's the kid playing behind a miserable offensive line, was still the 5th best running back in the league last year, 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
So behind this line, I'm excited to see what he does, but I'm really excited.
Well, he started the season injured too.
I'm really excited to see Bryce Huff work. I think that dude coming off the edge, now that we have a different approach and we're switching up schemes, he's a great edge rusher for a 3-4 defense. I think it's going to be insane. Getting CJ back obviously helps too. Devin White, like I know people are like, oh, Devin White's he's past his prime. He's 27 years old. He had 2.5 sacks, 6 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions last year. And he got benched halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So
wasn't he, and even if the Jalen Hurts that showed up this year shows up, it's not going to matter.
And that's the great thing about Saquon is he takes it, just like Derrick Henry with Lamar, is they take so much pressure off their quarterback because literally I'm not handing the ball to a running back. I'm handing the ball to a home run every single time, because literally if you try to arm tackle Saquon, he's going to eat your face. Same thing with Derrick Henry. And if you are playing strictly Saquon, okay, cool. Don't forget, my tight end is going to come over the middle and get us those 3, 4, 5 yards to pick up a first down. And then my wide receiver 2, who's better than your cornerback 1, is going to burn you deep. And then my wide receiver 1 is going to hit intermediate. And then when you go to try to arm tackle him, he's going to yak it up the field for another 30 yards. So I'm excited about. Yeah.
Go ahead. Can we agree that all 3 of our teams, outside of me and my quarterback situation, our offense, because even with y'all picking up Josh Jacobs, all our offenses going into next year are really just like
on paper, they're great.
Our offense unloaded. Yeah. Weapons wise.
Oh, we could talk about
all 4 teams, even with the rookie quarterback for the Bears, I would say are projected to either compete 15, for or 10? Like the Packers and Bears probably both are going to compete for a playoff spot. The Eagles probably obviously are going to compete to win the division, if not the NFC. So yeah, I think, it's bright. The future is definitely bright. We all
could be in the playoffs next year, literally. This time next year, we could all be
I think Green Bay and Detroit battles for the NFC North, while Chicago comfortably takes a wild card. I could absolutely see that.
A wild card run in your first year with an entire new regime,
a rookie quarterback.
That it'll be, if Caleb does that, he cements himself. If you come in first year,
it's going to take wins.
We're going to see.
If Caleb Williams can get us to the playoffs, Eberflus' job is saved for sure for at least another year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I would not be shocked if the consensus number 1 comes in and balls out enough, because how I feel about teams built well with rookie contract quarterbacks. I love those teams. I love them playing. I do. I enjoy the thought process behind it. It scares me a hell of a lot more than knowing the Bears were keeping Justin Fields. It doesn't matter who in my opinion, it doesn't matter because offensively you need that creator, and Eberflus is on the defense. He fucking lives on that.
Did the Bears get a new offensive coordinator this year?
You did get one this year. So I've got, like I said,
guy from Seattle.
It's going to be fun.
Their OC.
Yeah, okay. I'm pulling it up right now. I can't remember. Hold on.
Look, that's the thing is there's been a lot of coaching changes this year in the league. Coordinator wise specifically,
things are
like obviously
different.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing is we're going from Philly specifically is going from a defensive coordinator and a defensive situation where we shit the bed at the end of the year, completely shit the bed.
Last
and
5
now,
games for the Eagles.
Yeah, 6 out of 7 we lost, which is insanity. And most of that is due to non-tackling and non-wrapping up and not taking care of the ball defensively. But now we're coming into a defense who, with Vic Fangio as a coordinator, he's known to get the best out of his safeties, always gets the best out of his safeties. He's developed linebackers like Andrew Van Ginkel. Before last year, did anybody know who the fuck Andrew Van Ginkel was? No. But he played with Vic Fangio, let him go out on the edge and rush and become an actual threat. So I'm excited about our defense too. Our special teams has been good. I don't think that's going to change. I get really cautious about the offense just because of Jalen didn't look the same exact way. But I think even if Jalen, like Charles said, even if Jalen from last year shows up, I don't think we see nearly the turnovers that we did last year. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to get back into top 8, top 5 quarterback in the league territory this year.
Yeah. It's the potential's all there. On the outside looking in, honestly, my big concern with the Philadelphia Eagles would be injuries.
Yeah.
I think 2 of your major pieces have injuries, have sustained injuries, multiple leading into this season. So it'd be really nice for them to stay healthy, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm having a hard time disagreeing with you. From the outside looking in, on the analytical side, I want to see them stay healthy. It's the same thing I got to say to Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. There's a list. Brock Purdy and his tiny elbow. That's got to stay healthy.
Here's my question for everybody.
Yeah.
At what point do we start making those too soon predictions as far as division winners and wild cards? At what point is it before the draft, after the draft?
After the draft.
Training camp, after preseason.
I say why don't we'll do it on our after the draft day episode.
Yeah.
We've got our draft day episode, then we'll link up afterwards that following week.
Yeah, draft day's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We could even do it on Sunday because who gives a shit about 7th rounders?
Yeah, really.
When we do this list, it's division winners, wild card, and are we doing award predictions?
We can do you want to do rookie of the year?
Predictions are too hard. Yeah, you could do rookie of the year, but offensive
rookie award predictions.
No, let's just do rookie of the year. Just pick your rookie of the year. It doesn't matter what offense, defense.
Yeah, so who you think is going to be
the best player, the best rookie next year? We don't care if he wins MVP.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting. One last table. I did want us to break through the top 5, and we've got one team left. We did touch on them briefly. I don't think there's much more, but the LA Chargers, they are number 5, and they are in a interesting situation. They were in draft cap hell, I believe, with all their free agency pushes. They're comfortably well without of it. So what do we think the Chargers do with that number 5 pick?
I don't know. Wide receiver.
I could see them going, I was going to say Brock Bowers.
I think Brock Bowers is who they're linked to. Or a lot of people have them linked to is Brock Bowers because they do not have a designated tight end.
Yeah. And I think Brock Bowers, even though he had a shaky combine.
It's that ankle. I think the ankle was still bothering him, but.
Yeah, probably. But I don't think, I think he's still good enough. If you take him at number 5, it's not a reach. I think Brock Bowers is that big.
He's top 10. He's a top 10 player. Charles has been calling for him to be the number 1 fucking draft pick before Caleb Williams ever came out. You said you'd take Brock Bowers number 1.
Situationally? Hell yeah.
Yeah. He was talking about who's going to get it. I think you were talking about it was like Arizona if they had the number 1 pick or Carolina. But we knew, but the Carolina thing, we're like, they don't even have a pick. And you're like, remember we went over this one, you and me back and forth. And I go, are you sure? And he's, yeah, I'm fucking sure they don't have a pick. They have a pick, but it's not theirs. So
yeah, I could see if with Minnesota, I think, is the key to all of this with pick 11 and pick 23. I do believe Minnesota is going to get inside that top 5, whether it be with the Patriots at 3 or I can see the Chargers here at 5, because the Chargers going back to 11, you're going to get Brock Bowers at 11. That will be fine.
Dude,
you're going to pick up another one at 23.
The second, third, and fourth rounds have a projected 47 wide receivers, tight ends, or running backs to be drafted. Yeah. Holy shit. We haven't seen that in 20
I mean, the list on that is crazy. Yeah. But I like Minnesota trading into the top 5 out of the 11. I'm on that train. I've already bought the ticket no matter where it goes. I'm not sure if it's going to New England or the Chargers.
I could see.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I could definitely see Minnesota trading up because Sam Darnold, let's face it, is a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a long-term solution. Yeah, if that. So I could definitely see them trading up to the top 5, if not
Jaden
higher.
Daniels with Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, T.J. Hawkinson.
But do they have a wide receiver too?
Addison. Yeah,
Addison. That's right. That's who they got. Okay, that's Hawkinson's their tight end. They've got a running back. Yeah, that could be terrifying too.
Minnesota's a quarterback away from continuing what they've been doing. They lost to Neil Hunter, but basically them and the Texans switched. Texans got a little older at the position. Vikings got a little younger.
I think there's still good edge rushers in the second round. They'll be able to pick up.
Oh, absolutely.
Not Daniil Hunter.
And
good.
We are talking about the NFC. Yeah. The NFC is still very top heavy. To this point, regardless of what happens in the draft, the good teams got better, and the bad teams are in their progression phases still. So I still see the NFC being top heavy.
I have one last question for you guys. Do you think the Cowboys make the playoffs this year? And I know that sounds like me being an Eagles fan and being a hater, but legit, because of inactivity and mismanagement of their personnel, do you realistically see them as a playoff team?
It's going to be tough.
I think the reason I say this is
because I think they're going to be competing for a wild card spot.
I think you have to win the NFC
division.
East.
We know that, but
I think you'll have to win the NFC East to come out of there with the playoff position. I think the NFC North is stacked. I mean, and I love the Bears, but we're being realistic. We're talking Green Bay and Detroit.
Listen, if we 9 or 10 wins for me, I think that, again, we're moving in
success.
The direction.
That's a good point. The NFC North is going to have 2 playoff teams. I believe that's going to come down to that. So that leaves a position somewhere else. NFC North, NFC South. I'm guessing that's Atlanta, but you have Tampa Bay there also. So
only one comes out of there. I think
only one comes out of there, but because that division is so whack, you're going to get free wins in that division. So that's a stacked win division. You're going to have 11, 2
well, I
teams
think they all
at
fought
10 to
to
12
get to
wins.
8-8 or 9-8 last year, so they're not going to be stacked for wins. But
between Tampa Bay and
they all just beat each other up. Yeah.
I think the only top teams out of the NFC South that I could think, I'm with you on, Charles. It's either going to be Tampa Bay or Atlanta that takes the title, and clearly that's going to give them.
Well, it's probably going to be Atlanta. Atlanta got, of all those teams, Atlanta got way better.
I agree. Yeah. I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta way more.
That's it's going to be only one of them too.
I wish betting was open. I would have put $100 on Atlanta. You heard me on the show.
Yeah.
I was Kirky to Atlanta because of his wife. I thought that was almost a guarantee. If you took Atlanta to win the NFC South a week and a half ago, it was like minus 15. Now
that offense went from I don't want to watch
crazy
it to
how much faith they have on Kirk like that.
Yeah, it's the number 3 quarterback since 2018.
I think he could win the division. I think he could win the division easily. I think Atlanta has the NFC South. Tampa Bay might give him a problem, but I don't know. I just feel Atlanta feels like the team in the South that's gonna, pardon the fucking phrasing, is gonna rise again. Is Atlanta?
Right. And then we have the dark horse in the room. We've got the NFC West. The 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the healthy Cardinals. That division is going to be stacked as well. I think the NFC East has to win their division to go to the playoffs.
The Niners didn't lose anybody, so how are they not going to be the front runners to win that division?
But they can also have a couple wild cards, though, coming out of the NFC West. That's the thing.
And that's what I'm saying. You've got the Rams, coming out 49ers and Rams this year, Green Bay and Detroit this year.
I think as far as the Cowboys, I think it's going to be, depending on how the first couple of games in the season go, but I really do think and this kills me to say, I think the number one team in the NFC right now still has to be San Francisco, unfortunately.
They didn't lose anybody, so.
Well, they lost.
Here's my thing: when
they lost Dre Greenlaw's not coming back for most of the year.
That's fine. That can be replaceable.
He'll be back like week 8 or 9 or something.
But yes, they didn't lose a whole bunch of people in free agency, which they got very lucky on. So they're not losing a talent. But I think if we're talking about the top, I think it's San Francisco, Detroit, or Green Bay, whichever person wins that division, just because that division's ridiculously competitive this year. Philly and Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest competition we're going to have in the East is the Commanders this year.
Let me ask you this, though, to go off of what you asked with the Cowboys. Now, do I think they're going to make the playoffs? I do think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Now, here comes the problem. Next year, all of their top offensive weapons are and a couple of defensive. The only one that's not up is Mike Parsons until 2025. But majority of their top star players' contract is up at the end of this year.
That's why the fans are bitching they didn't go after anybody in free agency because they knew who
are you paying? Because you got Dak, CeeDee Lamb,
you still have to restructure. That hasn't happened yet.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying,
you
still have your team is basically due.
Did the Cowboys get better or get worse?
They got worse.
In theory, they got worse because you didn't do anything.
They got worse.
And you still don't have
absolutely shit.
Yeah, and you don't have a
bottom 5 team on the road.
Yep.
And
you lost your bell cow. Your bell cow back is gone now, so you don't have a.
There are reports to Ezekiel Elliott going back to the Cowboys.
But
you guys all agreeing with me that CeeDee Lamb isn't going to repeat what he did last season?
Oh, no, I think he is going to repeat. Oh, fucker. Nobody's agreeing with that number 7 bullshit.
I wasn't crazy.
Y'all stay on that side of the room. Y'all stay on that side of the room.
I agree with that.
Over there. Stay over there.
Realistically, this is the problem that CD faces this year.
7.
Dak 9. Dak faces.
That's their record, 7-9.
Sure. There's 17 games, so
7 and 10.
7 and 10.
I think the problem that CD is going to face is this is a contract year for Dak, right?
No, he's out. I'm telling you, he's got to restructure before the end of the season. Yeah,
I know that, but that's what I'm saying is you're going to have to prove it. Yeah. Period. Even if they do a restructure, you're still going to have to prove it.
The restructure, in theory, will be an extension with a signing bonus, and that's what'll cut. That's what'll cut the.
You know what's the more I pay attention to Cowboys radio and podcasts and stuff like that, which kills me to listen to. I don't think this is going to sound like a wild take. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to extend Dak. I don't think he's going to restructure. I think he's going to make him. I think he's going to make him play it out, and he's going to try to restructure CD and use that money for a running back. But the problem is, who do you go after as a running back in the free agent market right now? Because they're gone. They're gone.
No, the reports are
back.
Tying Zeke. Yeah.
Are you guys terrified of? Are you guys terrified of Zeke? Because he doesn't scare me at all.
No, he's 59.4 million dead cap.
That's what I'm saying.
They have to restructure.
There's no fucking way on earth that they can't. They have to restructure him, and it's going to be an extension. How they do that extension, though, could be a 2-year extension with a team option for the next year. And that might be why they're taking so much time, because the Cowboys might be trying to protect themselves on the ass end while Dak is, yo, bitch, I want that
bag. Yeah, I need the bag. I just think the Cowboys situation.
Does Dak take the team option, though?
No, absolutely not.
That's what I mean.
At this point in career, he's not going to accept that part of the deal.
Because
they're not Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
If they were winning in the playoffs and they were like 2 pieces away from going to the Super Bowl, like the Lions, or even if they were as good as the Packers, maybe he would restructure team friendly. But since they suck in the postseason, and
I'm betting on me.
But not only that, Jerry Jones is talking shit about his quarterback in the media. Why would I ever take a team friendly deal? Fuck the Cowboys. Fuck them.
Why does he not talk shit?
Wait till you hear this. All right, what Charles said, 59.4 million against the basically dead cap money. All right.
Yeah.
The cap went up. They were at starting free agency, they were 16 million over. Even if they restructure to the number that Dak wants, they're 3 million over in the red, and they cannot accept that. They have to be within
so they won't be able,
million.
so it won't be able to do a 2-year. They'll have to do 3.
They have to push it out till 3 minimum.
Here's the kicker with this. Dak Prescott fucking knows this. And statistically, regardless on how we feel about the Cowboys, Dak Prescott has put up numbers.
He's a good
is
quarterback.
Going to make his agent go, yo, bro, we got the bread. You're just trying to butter our bread.
His last year?
Yeah.
Could he walk after this year?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think,
and probably demand money somewhere else?
I think depending on the draft, next year we could see Dak in a Raiders.
Do you know what he makes this year? 61.9 million.
Yeah, it's impossible for that scenario because he has to
if he plays the whole season and they don't restructure, he makes 61
million. Now Josh Allen, as much as we hate him, Josh Allen. Now listen, we say restructure and went team friendly. These sons of bitches are still getting their money. Instead of it being strung out throughout the season, they get it on a signing bonus, and that's why that's where the restructure comes in.
And
so
you don't
Josh
get hit
Allen
on the cap.
Yeah, Josh Allen still got his money, but now his cap is less, and it's his pockets. He gets it in one payment instead of 17.
That's why people were so up in arms over the fact that Rodgers wouldn't sign the deal that basically Jordan Love is going to end up signing.
Yeah,
$200 million contract for $45 million a year.
Green Bay Packer fans,
$30 million.
Green Bay Packer fans, you mark that down on your calendar. May 10th, we're about to see Jordan Love become a top 3 paid quarterback in the NFL. I've been hearing the numbers on his fucking contract. I think hell yeah.
His market, the market after the way he played himself in that playoff game, the market for Jordan Love is ridiculous because who wouldn't take Jordan Love right now?
Next year's market value on him, if we just did nothing, $44 million a year.
Bro, do you know what
I'm gonna throw up and say this, but go ahead, Mike. Because
so Philly's got 2 things they've got to do, and I wanted to talk about this. They've got to extend Devontae Smith because you want to lock up your 2. He's a fantastic number 2, and then we got to restructure or get rid of Hassan because Hassan right now is like a $21 million cap hit, and we're still $39 million under. And even after all of our new free agent signings, I think we're at like 19 mil under.
Do you think Hassan's going to restructure?
I do, because he wants to be in Philly. He wants to retire in Eagle because he's from he's from South Jersey.
But with all that cap space, fuck, hit me up next year.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is it's going to come down to obviously, all right, can we restructure this year or not? If we can't restructure this year, fine, we play it out. Hassan Reddick's gonna get double-digit sacks. It's pretty much guarantee. He's gonna bust his ass, get double-digit sacks. So that's gonna be enough for Howie to say, okay, I want you here for another 4 years, or on your prove it deal, you just killed the market, and now you're gonna go and get somebody else's paycheck. The good thing behind that though is we have a Nolan Smith right behind him. We just restructured Josh Sweat, so we have him for 4 years. So if he leaves, it sucks. I want to see Hassan stay in Philly, but if he leaves, we've got his replacement, and we could draft another replacement here in the draft. If we don't go corner number 22, I think Philly goes edge rusher.
I just want to say something before I forget, because I want to forget that I ever say what I'm about to say.
Oh, Jesus.
When did y'all trade for Brett Favre?
92.
Yeah.
It's 1992.
32 years.
To the year of our Lord and Savior, 2024. These motherfuckers of the North have had literally 3 fucking quarterbacks.
Our fucking rebuilding year took us almost to the NFC Championship.
Listen to me. These fuckers can't draft offensive weapons to save their fucking life. But for some dumbass reason, have lucked out on a 1 trade and 2 draftings of quarterbacks in the last 3 decades.
And I'm going to tell you something, too, that I just found out about Green Bay Packers
and
we're
just
office.
in year 2 of Jordan Love era. What indeed?
When Green, like the last 10 years, right? When the Green Bay Packers have decided to draft back, that player they then draft has went on to be a Pro Bowl or better football player, including the likes of Jordan Love, right? We traded back Everyone thought we were going to get a wide receiver for Aaron. We traded back, got Jordan Love. Jair Alexander before that. David Bakhtiari before that. It keeps going and going. So when the Green Bay Packers decide, we like who we're seeing, but we can get who we want here, that player has been a fucking Pro Bowler. So
I'm just saying, 3 decades, 3 different quarterbacks.
And I'm hoping Aaron goes to Minnesota, bro.
Just to retire like Brett.
Just to keep the train rolling, man.
Just to keep the train.
He's either got to send dick pics quick or get to Minnesota.
Or just start stealing fucking food stamp money from whatever state you're living in. You'd be fine.
Well, I guess I'm starting to understand why the NFL draft goes so long. Listen, this
there's
so
much.
Been a fantastic.
We touched on about 5 teams. We
touched on 5 teams. With 2 hours, touched on 5 teams. We didn't even get to March Madness, which is coming up quick. You got everybody out there, listeners. Check out the links. Get in on the bracket challenge. Go ahead, pick your teams. I'm really excited about that. I believe we'll be touching on the March Madness here much sooner rather than later. Patrick, did you have another promo to cut?
No, I add him in later. I just want to
test add him in later. You just want to do that other one? Okay, then
test
of course, our friends to the south, which is funny because you guys are south of us, and on this video, you're south of us as well.
Yes.
Let me,
I just
as
got
always,
one thing to say.
Give you the floor to say as you must.
I just want to do a shout out to one special man that he announced his retirement the other day. Mr. Derrick Rose. I'm like,
oh yes, thank you.
He may not be a Bulls fan the whole time his career, but I was a fan of him no matter where he went, whether it was Philly, Cleveland, New York, Memphis, it didn't matter. I was a huge fan of him. I felt bad for the way that he got put out the way he did. I was hoping that he would have another comeback to Chicago for at least a year or two. I'm hoping that they sign him so he can retire as a Bulls once the season is over, just to have that for him. 15 years in the league, youngest MVP ever in the league, arguably probably had one of the best teams to compete against LeBron James and the Heatles, but it just never came to fruition because one, he hurt his right knee against Philly in the playoffs, and then the next year that he came back, he messed up his left knee, and he just never was able to go back to his good days. And so one of the good ones that we never got to see to his full potential due to injuries. So 15 years, 15 good years. I know he's not going to make it to the NBA Hall of Fame, but I'm like, he's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Yeah. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
I got to tell you, my piece on Derrick Rose, as a Pistons fan and a Bucks fan, obviously Chicago is very close in this triangle. But I remember when Derrick Rose made Chicago basketball relevant again. And I'm talking like Michael Jordan relevant again. And
that was the dream.
And I was so bummed that what he, as you were saying, what he was able to do, honestly, watching it, the things he used to do while in midair underneath the basket. Hey, I thought I was going to shoot over here, but let me rotate my whole body with no physical purpose in this and throw the ball over here and make the mother trucker.
One of the most athletic point guards to ever play the game.
I truly believe Derrick Rose allowed Russell Westbrook to be Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook looked at that and said, I don't want that to be me. And like really focused on body health because they play super similar. I wish John Morant would take the route from Westbrook and go get on that physical routine. There's a handful of players, but not to branch off from Derrick Rose. I agree. I don't think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I do think Chicago needs to do whatever they can, bring that guy back as the decades go along. I believe he should have a lot to do with that city. Congratulations on your retirement, Derrick Rose.
Absolutely.
But gone too soon.
We're going to miss you, my man. We're going to miss you in the game.
Yeah,
and by the way, Charles, he did play for the Pistons too.
Yeah,
he did.
Shout out Derrick Rose. That guy was one of those dudes where, and I'm a Knicks fan. Like I've always watched the Knicks. So when we picked up Derrick Rose as a point guard, I was like, get the fuck out of here. The Knicks are making moves at point guard? When the fuck did this happen? And to watch him even coming off the bench, it was special because there was not a person who was booing Derrick Rose no matter where he went.
No, he revitalized that career in Detroit.
He's so well respected throughout the basketball community that I don't think you're right, Paul. He's not a Hall of Famer, unfortunately. But I think the players who played with Derrick Rose and those who watched him know how good he is. And I think he's going to, 10 years from now, there are going to be mixtapes of people saying, no, you know who you missed out on was Derrick Rose. And then there's going to be highlights. And the guy was gifted beyond,
Absolutely.
but he was also very intelligent.
Hey, didn't he dunk from the fucking free throw line? I swear he dunked from the free throw line.
I don't know, but I know
you can find that highlight, give it to me.
He was crazy. Before, I just want to say, obviously, you can catch us on X at Your Heat Check. You can find us on YouTube at The Heat Check Podcast. But I am starting a new audio-only storytelling podcast called Tales from the War Room. And essentially, it's going to be historical figures, military historical figures, historical really important battles. So like I set my schedule for what I want to do. Just the first 10 episodes, I've got them mapped out already. If I can find them. There we go. All right. So the first 4 episodes are going to be about Japanese feudal Japan and one of the great unifiers, the 3 great unifiers. 5, 6, and 7 are going to be World War II. General Patton, General Montgomery, and General Eisenhower. Episode 8 will be about the invasion of Normandy. And then 9 and 10, I want to highlight an Army Medal of Honor recipient named Alwyn Cash. And the last episode 10, which will be the entire season's 10 episodes, will be an overreaching on the global war on terror and my experience and stuff like that. So Tales from the War Room, I'm going to start recording soon. Find a home for it, get a logo, all of that stuff. But it's coming really soon.
Fantastic. And
Can't wait.
Can't wait to hear that. Can't wait to get the links out. By the way, according to Bing's AI, Derrick Rose, the explosive point guard, has had some jaw-dropping dunks throughout his career. One of the most iconic moments was when he soared from the free throw line during a game. So the clip is out there. I knew it. I'm telling you, it was like
make sure you get that, Charles. We'll add it into the show.
I'll make sure we get that clip out. Absolutely.
I'm going to try to find me a little highlight clip to put together for him.
Yes, please do, and ensure that that free throw line dunk is in it. Yeah?
I'm going to try to find some stuff.
That's how it's got to finish, and then put his career retired when he started. There you
can
go.
even throw in the Space Jam music.
You can't. That's copyright. But yeah.
Oh shit! We'll throw in the music.
You can sing. No, you can sing it.
I'll sing. I believe I can touch the sky.
I'm gonna need you never to do that in public.
I was gonna say, Paul, you have a wife who is a literal world-class singer.
There
if you
let
go. These honkies sing that R. Kelly song, it's gonna be.
This is the thing.
That's why he can't, because his ears are cringing right now. Like,
this is the thing. My household does not play Robert Kelly music, so it's not gonna happen.
That's good.
Robert. I like that you gave him Robert Kelly. Yes, Robert Kelly music.
We're not singing Robert Kelly music.
He doesn't even get the respect with the single.
No, I'm with that. We don't play R. Kelly in this house. We don't play Michael Jackson in my house.
I'm gonna piss on her face. So,
Beep, 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 beep.
you can find. Oh yeah, the promos are gonna go out. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything.
We don't have to do any of that. Okay, so the only thing then left is thank you guys so much again. These Sunday episodes are becoming wonderful. I'm loving these. For all of our listeners, thank you for the clicks, likes, and subscribes. I believe we just surpassed 400 on YouTube.
Let's go!
Oh, 455.
We're at 455.
We just clipped 89.
Something for the future. I believe we're going to start deep diving oddities by states. So we're going to look into some Wisconsin ghost stories real quick and push them out. We're going to go state by state, see if we can't get.
Oh yeah, we're going to go all the way through the 50 states before the season starts. We got to try to get through a lot of these before baseball starts.
Baseball starts.
Baseball starts
in 2 weeks. 11 days. We got 11 days. We will do this.
They're going to record 8 episodes a day.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Remember,
we might be able to get a few.
The world is a much, much better place with you in it. Smile more.
Yes.
Boys in the Woods merchandise. Get yourself some Boys Podcast swag here at boysinthewoods906.shop.